All right, my friends, welcome back to All Cars Reacts. If you're new here, I am John. This week it is a new Motorweek retro review, fresh and hot out of the oven here. It is the 1991 Subaru SVX. It'll be exciting to see the people who actually leave me a comment and remember this vehicle. We are talking about something nearly 35 years old, and this was a niche product, but it was very memorable. And honestly, I'd made a list. I tell you, I keep a list of ideas here. And this is one I just really wanted to see what Motorweek said about it because, well, I have mixed feelings. So as always, make yourself comfortable in your comfy chair. We do have some decaf coffee this morning because it's pretty early. And well, let's see what Motorweek said about it when it was brand new.
Your host from Motorweek 91, John Davis.
Well, hello and welcome again to Motorweek 91. We're glad to have you with us. This is a Subaru Justy. It's small, cute, and practical. Now, this car is a Subaru 2. It's not small, looks very aggressive, and no car this sporty can truly be considered completely practical. But this is a very significant car. This is the Subaru SVX, the first car of its kind from Japan's most unique car company. And starting at around $25,000, it's also the most expensive car that Subaru has ever built. But is the world ready to pay that much for, well, for a Subaru? Let's see what it has to offer and then decide.
Wow. So I was just doing another video, and I was doing a little bit of research. A 1990 base level two-wheel drive Chevy 1500 truck was $11,000. This thing's $25,000. And it's fascinating to me to see when John Davis moved from the Justy, which I think is adorable, next to this thing. Look how huge this thing looks. I miss Subaru doing things different. I mean, they've fallen into just SUVs, and they get a little crazy with colors sometimes, and certainly they have a reputation for reliability, durability. People who drive them love them, and dogs love Subarus. But gosh, I miss when they had quirky cars. One of my earliest jobs, one of the guys I worked with, he actually had a Subaru, I want to say it was a DL, I think that's right, just a base Subaru sedan. And, you know, it wasn't a Honda, it wasn't a Toyota, or it was cool though, in a dorky, slow kind of way. So let's see what else they say.
Bold styling and design are the calling cards of successful luxury performance coupes. Now Subaru has boldly come calling with the introduction of the SVX. Although we have seen similar technology in other high-end sports coupes, the SVX marks Subaru's first attempt at combining maximum performance and above-the-line luxury. But it was the SVX's distinctive styling that required our staff to roll down the window at every stop and answer the #1 question from admiring motorists. What is it? Combining recent industry styling trends and a few quirky characteristics unique to Subaru, the SVX easily takes a prominent place on the road. The feature noticed first, and obviously most unique about the SVX, is the window within a window. This unusual design allows for a huge door opening that extends into the roof. Drivers also enjoy open window ventilation without the annoying rushing of wind. Visibility is not hampered because the roll-down window's frame is placed above the sightline of most drivers. Because of Subaru's compact flat engine and flush-fitting wraparound light housing, the SVX is able to sport a low and elongated hood that blends easily into the bumper. Also unique to the SVX is Subaru's glass-to-metal bonding process that allows the glass to be flush-mounted over the body pillars for improved aerodynamics. The rear window slopes almost to the spoiler, which is molded into the short and slightly raised rear deck, giving the SVX wedge-shape efficiency.
All right, let's talk about the styling here for a minute. I would not blame you if you looked at this car and absolutely dismissed it. It's not a sports car. They actually called it, a sport luxury tourer, I think is the wording they just used. And the window within a window, that tells me that product planning actually was like, oh crap, our window won't roll down. We've got to think of something else to do. But taken together, I think this is a fantastic looking car. Think about the Camaro, the Z, the Mustang, the Mitsubishi Eclipse, and then look at this thing. And, you know, I think it was compared favorably back at the time as being a spaceship. But what I see now is more Italian. The super wedge nose with that long light bar across it. Nobody else was that thin, right? And this long bar at the back with your taillights and your backup lights screams Alfa to me. This looks like a concept car from an Italian manufacturer, not Subaru. This is a car that, if I had a choice between this and a Mitsubishi Eclipse or an Eagle Talon, I like the stubby look of the Mitsubishi and the Eagle better. But I think this thing has aged unbelievably well. It still looks fresh to my eyes.
From a styling standpoint, the SVX is a showstopper and almost identical to the show car version that appeared 18 months ago. On the performance side, there is also no stopping Subaru's new flagship. The SVX is powered by a new horizontally opposed 6-cylinder engine. Cylinder spacing and bore are the same as in other Subaru engines, but this beefed-up version displaces 3.3 liters. A unique computer-controlled induction system greatly increases airflow to the intake ports at predetermined speeds. The result is an additional 15 pound-feet of torque at low speeds and 30 pound-feet at high engine speeds. Total output is 230 horsepower and 224 pound-feet of torque. Good numbers for a non-turbocharged engine of this size.
I know some people that I've talked to over my life who are absolutely opposed to horizontally opposed engines. No pun intended, right? And several of them have been engineers or mechanical engineers. I like them. I don't like how they sound, but I like them. And I have very little problems with this engine. That's all I got to say about it. It's cool to me.
The SVX's 4-speed automatic transmission with all-wheel drive has an automatic power shift mode for a sportier feel. The SVX also offers the driver the option of shifting through the gears manually. The choice is made by a button mounted on the shift lever, a feature that is too gimmicky for our taste. Otherwise, gear changes are firm and on the torque peaks. This all translates into generally good track numbers. While the car is a wee bit sluggish from a dead stop, it still manages 0 to 60 in 8 seconds and a quarter-mile run of 16 seconds with a final speed of 90 miles per hour. Although the SVX performs well through the RPM band, best results are in the mid to upper range where the car hunkers down for serious cruising. Cruising is also on the quiet side with a 67 decibel sound reading. EPA fuel economy estimates predict 17 city and 25 highway. Our combined mileage loop turned in 22 miles per gallon. Aided by the full-time all-wheel drive system, computer-controlled power distribution, and 4-wheel independent suspension, the SVX has high cornering limits. It does not have the show car's 4-wheel steering or active suspension, and doesn't need it. But the SVX's production mechanicals still make it a heavy car, and you feel it. But it's a Mercedes kind of heavy. Despite a lot of weight being transferred, the car is never sloppy in response. When put to the test of quicker maneuvers, the SVX remains stable with good feedback and only a little lag in the variable power steering. Body roll is minimal.
I just want to say, I'm impressed. You know, they keep going back to, like, when they said it's heavy. That's what they were saying. But it's a Mercedes kind of heft. That it's not wallowy. It's controlled weight. You know, acceleration numbers and everything else are fine. And going through the slalom, that looked really good. And almost everything they said was positive about it. You definitely get the feeling, you know, Motorweek never says anything negative about anybody, but not sports car. like when they were saying it's a little sluggish off the line, but really it's the mid-range, high range of the engine where things take off. This is a cruising car, not a sports car. Interesting.
Subaru's four-wheel disc brakes with a 4-channel anti-lock system stopped the SVX from 60 in a very impressive 98 feet. There was little nosedive, and stability, again, was excellent.
Before they get to the interior, that's astonishing. That is absolutely astonishing. I don't know, but I think of all the reaction videos I've done, 98 feet, if it's not the best, it's right up there. That's fantastic. If you're relatively new here, let me just say that I've watched a lot of these over the years, and I've discovered that 115 feet is just the good number. If it's a little bit longer than that, it's still okay, but if it's better than that, we're talking supercar territory. That's astonishing.
Performance and the exterior styling of the SVX turns heads, then the interior should also generate plenty of oohs and ahs, beginning with a fighter cockpit-like feel provided by the glass-to-glass canopy. The business side of the interior is U-shaped, starting at the center console and ending at the driver's door armrest. We universally like the generous use of suede cloth on the dash, but some of our staff were disappointed with the below-standard appearance of the accompanying wood grain plastic trim. Gauges are large and easy to read. However, the SVX is yet another luxury sports coupe that has no oil pressure gauge or voltmeter. Fortunately, a driver's side airbag is standard. Getting into the low SVX is effortless due to the wide door opening and movable steering wheel. The front seats are comfortable and provide good support. The optional touring package provides 8-way electrically controlled seat adjustments and leather trim. The tilt telescoping steering wheel is over-engineered, requiring 3 levers to put it through its paces. Most controls are located on stalks or on the dash close to either side of the steering column. There's a large pad on the automatic climate control to change temperature 1 degree at a time. The system itself is positioned at center dash within easy reach. The SVX's 80-watt stereo system is cleverly hidden behind a panel. The premium cassette and CD player are part of the touring package. The shift console houses a massive handbrake lever and a storage box that augments a sizable glove box. The touring package also includes a tilt and sliding sunroof that moves to the outside of the cabin for maximum headroom. Rear seating is best reserved for your smallest of passengers. There is anchoring for 2 child safety seats. However, the solid seat back thankfully folds flat to create a large cargo area. The short trunk lid takes some muscle to lift, but it moves conveniently up and out of the way, providing low liftover and ample storage. The base price...
Okay, so they didn't give the... I was waiting for it, and they didn't give the cubic footage of that trunk. I was very, very interested. Doesn't look huge, but it looks... You know, for a sports car, it looks generous enough. I'm going to guess it was 13, 14 cubic feet, something like that. Love the back seat, lays down. No real leg room in the back. That's understandable. You put your kids back there, I guess, when they're not crying. There's not much I like about the interior. I'm going to be honest with you. There's one thing that stands out, and it's memorable, but I honestly had forgotten it, and I'm super excited to see it again. You know, them having to move 3 levers to adjust the steering wheel, that's just stupid. That shows a lack of attention to detail. And the rest of the interior kind of shows it too. I do like that it's got that visual bite of 2 different colors and textures, but that middle portion right there, I absolutely hate it. That doesn't scream either touring or sports car. It screams, we build sedans, let's throw an interior into it. And specifically, you know, the gear shifter. It looks like it could have come out of a Nissan, right? The manual shifting on a automatic, give me a break. It's still just an automatic. You're just making it shift when you want to. That's ridiculous. I hate that feature. But it's that center stack right there. Now, I like that they hide the radio, but the wood grain plastic, as they said, just looks cheap. And what drove me up the wall is how big the the gaps were around everything. Not only the plastic here in the center, but then the wood grain going up. It looks very low rent to me. And what I can't get over is, and they sacrifice some ergonomics along the way. I mean, having the up-down pad for the climate control, but then other buttons over here, they're just trying to be quirky for the sense of quirky, but they also do it at a point in the dash where this portion of the dash, which is one material, and this portion, which is that fake wood grain, managed to match up with a gap in between. The interior doesn't work for me. I don't hate it. I'm not repulsed by it. And they do give the same general ideas like the Mitsubishi Eclipse of, a cockpit around you. Ugh. And I'm going to say if you own one and you use it on a daily basis, maybe it just fades into the background and you're fine. But overall, I think the interior is kind of icky. But the thing that I'd forgotten about, and this video just reminded me, is that big, huge, chunky emergency brake lever. I love that. Sure, I want just one with a silver button at the end that you pull up that takes up about this much space, but that big chunky one right there in front of your center console, come on, that's just kind of cool in a we make sedan kind of way.
Subaru SVX is $25,000, while the luxury touring package brought our as-tested price to $28,000. That is expensive for a Subaru, but on the low side for this much performance, luxury, styling, and safety. For comparison, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 and Dodge Stealth RT Turbo also have full-time all-wheel drive as well as all-wheel steering. Plus, a 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine makes them much faster. Usable interior space is about the same, but a fully optioned 3000 GT or Stealth will cost you almost $5,000 more than the SVX. Our hits with the Subaru SVX include its revolutionary styling theme, fine handling and braking performance, and its highly refined interior controls and comfort options. Misses were hard to come by, but we did pick 3: lack of an oil pressure gauge and voltmeter, cheap-looking plastic, and the tiresome task of answering all those "what is it?" questions. Move the SVX to the front row of the Sports Coupe safety class. It has everything except a passenger side airbag. Now back to our original question. Is the world ready for a $25,000 plus Subaru? The SVX, despite where it comes from, is an impressive feat. It stands out from the crowd in both form and function. So, as Subaru runs their new flagship car up the flagpole, we know at least one group of car fans that plans to salute.
Interesting. So, pretty impressive overall kit on this thing. I mean, you get a V6, you get swoopy styling, you get all-wheel drive. Pretty impressive. I'm not sure how many people would have cross-shopped an SVX versus that 3000. And I need to make a note over here to do a Mitsubishi 3000 or a Dodge Stealth reaction video, because that was a pretty impressive car. There's no comparison between them in my mind. Now, $5,000 is nothing to sneeze at, but, Subaru was naturally aspirated. Did they come out with a turbocharged version that would more closely match up with the Mitsubishi? And again, I just don't feel people would be cross-shopping these two. This is one for the people who think a little bit different. I think Subaru kind of feeds into that to begin with, but this is like the Grand Tour, the sports tour for the kind of person who bought an Apple product back in 1991 and drove a Saab. Those kind of people, not the ones who are, I was going to buy a Mustang, but I got the Mitsubishi 3000 in the process, and gosh, wish I'd looked at the SVX. I don't see it. I see this as super, super quirky and very expensive. But, and if I'm being extremely honest, if it was 1991 and I had, let's say, $30,000 and I wanted to go buy a sports car, it wouldn't have been this. But when I look back at like a Mustang, a Camaro, or the Mitsubishi, this is the one that I'd like to have today, because I think this is cool and this still looks fresh. while like that Mitsubishi, I'm going to pick on it for a minute, looks a little too try hard. The one other thing I'm going to say about the interior here, and I'll finish with this, and I'd forgotten it earlier. The seatbelt arrangement was the worst of every world. They actually show that it had an airbag, and they noted that as one of their safety features. But earlier, they actually showed that it still had the door-mounted shoulder belt. So it's the worst of every world. The reason they had door-mounted shoulder belts is because people would do that while they re-engineered their cars to actually have a driver's side airbag. This one got the driver's side airbag, but still had that stupid... That back in 1991, there were some cars, and if you needed a car, you just took it. But that's a deal killer for me. No, I hate that. Hate powered shoulder belts. So anyway, cool car. Love this car, and I love it more the further away we get from it. I wish it had been a bigger success. Not sure how it sold. But again, especially if you owned one, let me know below. How was your experience, man? What'd you cross shop it with? Other than that, thank you so much for spending just a few minutes with me today. Appreciate y'all.